see if we got this. Hello, everybody. Well, welcome to Thursday. We're going to be looking at the colors of Alison. Hello, Sarah. Of Alison Pinto. Alison's from India, and she'll be with us tomorrow. So we're going to look at her colors, plus we're going to do some additional colors. For example, Alison has a phthalo turquoise. We'll be looking at phthalo blue turquoise, phthalo turquoise, and ultramarine turquoise. To kind of give you a little bit of extras. Anna, Angela, Giovanni, and Letizia, and Mark are all going to also be doing mixes, etc. So you can watch their mixes. And if you want to show kind of some of the things you're doing, Buffy, Sarah, we'd love to also put you on to the screen so people can see your mixes. And you can do them in any order you want. If it doesn't have to be the colors I'm using here, it could be any colors that are available and in front of you. So that way everybody can see how other people do mixes, etc. All right. So with that, here from beautiful sunny Seattle, I'm saying that she's asleep since it's raining today. We're going to start. If you're on Zoom, you can just ask questions directly, which is fine. Bella, I know you're south of me, and it must be raining where you're at as well. Yeah. That's all right. It keeps the plants green. Okay, so.
But it's got to be, but it has to be warm enough to do anything.
That's true. Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to use Cobalt Blue and then Pyrrole Scarlet. That's a pretty color. Somebody had asked me last week to go over one more time the Pyrroles, the Pyrroles, and I think I'll do that. I'll just do maybe next week or the week after. Talk about families of colors. Next week, this time, leaving for Italy on Monday to be at the Fabriano show, which will be pretty marvelous. So I will be speaking to you from Italy.
John.
Yes.
As you go in there next week to Fabriano, you might be able to ask them all about what we were talking about last week with the sizing, because I believe they were the first company ever to put sizing in their watercolor paper.
Yeah, it's Fabriano was made in there. We're going to be actually in Bologna. Fabriano became too small for the show. The show's very popular, and sometimes the company opens up their museum, but it's just because it's the town of Fabriano. So the first one I'm going to do is going to be the Cobalt Blue. Cobalt Blue is a very popular color. So Sheena, hello from Edinburgh. Awesome. And Annika, Sweden. Oh, let me put this down. Up. Down. There we go. So this is Cobalt Blue.
John, just know, I think Buffy's trying to show her palette, how her palette looks like.
Yeah, you want to put it on center screen?
Yeah, hang on. Let me spotlight. It looks neat. Can you show that again, please, Buffy?
Sure. It's a little, it's a little ridged bowl that a friend made, a piece of pottery, and so you can just put your colors on the edges, and then the ridges will save them. So when you're swatching and stuff, and you want to do mixes all in one place, so if you have a bowl at home, a shallow bowl, kind of fun.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello, Tess. Tess from Galway, Ireland. Very awesome. When we went to Ireland, went to the Giant's Causeway, and then the part that's in the middle of Ireland, God, I forget the name of it, has all the stones. It's just gorgeous. So this right here is the Pyrrole Scarlet, and this is the sap green. So let's see, someone has a question. Are the Lunars considered Earth? The Lunars are synthetic. So they're not natural, if that's the question. So they're not natural, they're synthetic.
That's really interesting. So how do you get all the granulation and sediment if it's not Earth?
Well, that's a really good question. So how you do that is, again, the one that violates that in a very interesting way is the Lunar Black. And the Lunar Black is a synthetic that is all the same size, all the same shape, and all the same weight. So whenever you have anything that's all the same, all the same, all the same, you would think that when it moves together. Because it moves together, there's no granulation. Granulation is caused when there's different specific gravity or different shapes or different sizes. And therefore, some things move at different rate than others. And that's what you get the effect of granulation or reticulation. So it makes sense when you're looking at the other lunars because either the way they're made or they're made with other pigments. They're more than one pigment together to make that particular lunar. But that doesn't apply to the Lunar Black. The Lunar Black is just one pigment. And it's just the behavioral of that particular pigment that is Lunar Black that causes that. They do not want to be together. They want to move away from each other. And that can be used in a very interesting effect when you're painting. For example, if I put Lunar Black, I have Lunar Black. Lunar Black, here we go. Instead of just talking about it, I'll show you. So let's put some Lunar Black. Lunar Black will move away from other colors. So let's do that. Let's put some Lunar Black down. Go to my other paint. So I'll put some Lunar Black down. There's Lunar Black. If I use, this is going to be his hands yellow light.
So, John,
Normally we should expect with the black that the black would take over. And yet what we'll see as time goes on is the black is going to move away from the yellow. And it will just get more and more yellow. And that's kind of one of the weird characteristics of Lunar Black. One, that it granulates as a single pigment that's all the same size, shape, and weight. And two, that it tends to move away from other colors, which is pretty cool.
John,
Yes.
do you do a black with a yellow undertone?
The only black that we have with a yellow undertone would be the ivory black. So the ivory black is the one black that tends to have a very very kind of yellow cast to it.
Yeah.
The blackest black that we have is the lamp black, and the darkest color we have for the C-Lab is actually the Untitled Blue.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, to get a feedback on how dark something is, it's how much of the white is covered, so that when you hit it with a spectrophotometer, you're not getting the light back, right? So if you looked at a luminescent, for example, they're off the chart because they have mica and there's so much light coming back. They're as close to 100% as you can get. And then after that, it would be, like the Hansa yellows, etc., that are very, very, very bright.
Well, you'll be pleased to know I've added to my sticks this week.
Yeah, what did you get?
Hematite Genuine.
That's a cool color.
The one I'm most impressed with is the permanent Alizarin Crimson. That's gorgeous, really is nice that. Yellow Ochre, Titanium White, Sodalite Genuine, and Quinacridone Violet. So I'm slowly but surely getting there.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Can you reiterate the ones that you're bringing out later on this year?
I can, and I'll do more than that. I'll show you those today.
Oh, very good.
They're kind of funky looking. I'll just kind of show you real quick. There's samples I'm going to bring into Italy. They're just made out of the laboratory. So a chemist does this by, yeah, he just cuts a piece of the bag open and squeezes it like frosting, which is different than our normal process. But I'm going to show you these today. I'll show you the Carmine, Ivory Black, Burnt Yellow Ochre, the Mayan Orange, Spring Green, and Olive Green. So we'll look at these today.
Will they be available to us to review prior to them being officially released?
Let me see where they'll be released. They'll be to distribution in September. They'll be released to the stores that want to carry them in the stores by November, if the stores carry them. So you can see that yellow really, it just keeps on popping. It's kind of one of the interesting things about the Lunar Black. And this is Moonglow. And I think I showed you the Hansa. This right here is the Cad yellow. So this is Cad yellow.
I noticed in our guest videos that she does use the sticks quite a lot.
Awesome. So Giovanni, who's up on top, uses the sticks. In fact, the colors that we're bringing out are his recommendation. So he's the one that recommended the colors to have a more full palette for people that have the sticks. So Nancy, I was trying to decide which extra colors I have to include in a page of verse for Jane Blondell's course. Jane Blondell's is fabulous, fabulous. Okay, so that is Queen Rose. This is my favorite. Ultramarine Blue. This is gold.
And Angela, Karen wants to know what colors are there for your mix.
This is the Hansa Yellow, one of Alison's colors, Hansa Yellow. And then another of Alison's colors, which is the Quinacridone, can you see it? Maybe not. Quinacridone Deep Gold and Lunar Black. And here is the Cobalt Blue. The blue is the Cobalt Blue.
Hello, Victoria. So there was a question from Judy. Where can you purchase the watercolor sticks? They're available. So when we went to just becoming a manufacturer, it really comes down to who wants to have the product in their store. So, store owners are always kind of weighing how big the display is, etc. And we hope they have them all. But easy way to check is to either call your local store or to go online and look at what they have. But they're
We're
available.
pasting a link to find a retailer link, John, from our website.
I'm sorry?
We will reply with a link for find a retailer from our website.
Thank you. So Ethel's going to put that on the website. Thank you, Ethel. Oh, Angela.
May I share that I also had a very positive experience with asking my local art store to bring in, they had a limited supply of Daniel Smith and they had several different companies. And I asked them to bring in the full line of Daniel Smith tubes, and they did. They brought in the full line. So your local art supply retailer, they listen to what you want. And that I'd encourage you in that.
That's super awesome. Anna, did you have mixes?
Yeah, I've been going through Alison's pigments that she provided. So Cobalt, Permanent Alizarin, Hansa Yellow, the Moon Glow, and Hansa Yellow is creating interesting streaks. The Cobalt Teal with Ochre, and then the Phthalo Teal below it is making very happy mixture, very joyful. And again, I'm working mostly with sticks with this selection. So the paper that I'm using is actually sandpaper, as I demonstrated and last week. So that's all sandpaper that I'm working on there.
Thank you. So this is the Moon Glow, and this right here is actually the Pyrrole Scarlet. So Pyrrole Scarlet, and over here, Pyrrole Scarlet here, Pyrrole Scarlet here. So this is the Pyrrole Scarlet, and this is the Pyrrole Scarlet. So the one thing that whether it's the Pyrroles are really super bright colors, very, very, very bright. Pyrroles are bright too, but comparing the two bright ones, the Pyrrole certainly is the brighter of the families. This right here is the Quinacridone Rose. So Quinacridone Rose, when Ian was saying he has a stick of the PV19 Quinacridone Violet, this is PV19 as well, but rose, and this is the Ultramarine Blue.
Is it just a different process you put it through to make it like that?
No, it's actually, so you can get different colors based upon the size of the particle. For example, the ultramarine and the French ultramarine are same PV29, pigment blue number 29, and it's just the particle size difference. When it comes to the quinacridone, it's where on the molecule the alpha and beta particles go, because it's a 5-ring structure, and it's where those go that give you the shade. So it's a chemistry thing. One is a size and one is a chemistry.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the next one that I have is just going to be Quinacridone Gold. I thought I would choose Quinacridone Gold. Alison's color is Quinacridone Deep Gold. I'm going to show you both. I'm going to show you the gold. So that's the Quinacridone Gold. Oh, Angela, I like your mixes are nice.
Oh, good. Thank you. This is Carbazole Violet. I'm not sure. Have you done it?
I haven't done it yet.
Uh-huh.
John, There's
Yes.
a mix request from Anna. So there's a request for a sample mix of burnt sienna, or no, it's a sample of burnt sienna next to quinacridone deep gold.
Okay, I can do that.
Oh, thank you. And then this is going to be the deep gold.
And then Maria Jose Zamora asks, what's the difference between quinacridone rose and our kin pink?
One more time, please.
What's the difference between quinacridone rose and quinacridone pink?
Just different, they're different pigment. So they're made differently by the manufacturer of that pigment. The ones that are the same pigment but different chemistry are the Quin Red, the Quin Rose, and the Violet. Those are all PV19. The rest of them are separate pigments, where those three are the same pigment but different chemistry. So this is the Quin Gold, and this is the Quin Deep Gold. So this is the one that Alison has on her dot card. I just wanted to show you both.
To answer the previous question between Quin Pink and Quin Rose, I'm looking at a dot card, and they're both transparent, but Quin Pink is actually light fastness 2, whereas Quin Rose is light fastness 1. So let's see if we can get the camera. There you go. So you can see, of course, the camera will distort it, but this will show you a little bit what the differences are.
Very cool, thank you.
Thank you.
She said burnt sienna and quinacridone
Deep gold.
deep gold. Okay.
Yeah, the deep gold is very pretty. So Kimberly says, I could swatch Daniel Smith's every day. The colors make me happy. You know, I think colors certainly make me happy as well. And that's one thing I love about the manufacturing there is just to see all the different colors on the mills or on the mixers. It is in Seattle, which gets kind of gray for a long period of time. It's nice to see color every day. If any of you'd like to show your artwork, just go ahead and say something, and Ethel will bring you to the center screen. Mark, you want to show people what you're doing? And then we'll show Sarah's. Ethel, can you show Sarah's and then Mark's?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Sarah's first. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna put you on spotlight. Okay. You're on mute, Sarah. Oh, there you go.
So these are just the colours I have, and they're beautiful. They've just merged into each other. I love them.
Gorgeous.
Very cool. Thank you.
That green, oh my
Nice.
goodness. Is that the sap green, Sarah?
I love this. This is the sap green, yes, and then the opera pink, which is in with the quinacridone gold because I didn't have the deep gold. My finger's going the wrong way. But that is very beautiful. I'm going to go and get opera green, opera pink, which I used from somebody's dot card for this exercise.
And which blue do you have on the far end?
It is the ultramarine.
Lovely.
Nice.
Thank you.
You would never think to let, or I would never think to let the green mix in with the pink, but look at how amazing that is.
It
That's
is.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Over on Facebook, Sarah Stella is saying that she loves it. She loves Sarah's
Oh,
work.
thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. And then we're gonna have Mark's swatch.
There we go.
Oh,
So
pretty.
I just let them run into each other, set some water on top. So
Oh, very cool.
Is that only
Yeah.
water or salt also?
just water.
Beautiful.
You just got to choose the right time. But yeah, just water. And this one's still work in progress, as you can see, it's coming down.
Is that Alizarin Crimson and Cobalt Blue?
That's Alizarin Crimson, yeah, and this is Cobalt, yeah.
Oh,
And that one is Quin Rose,
Quin Rose, yeah.
yeah, Quin Rose, and this is the Phthalo Turquoise.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And
Alison's colors are some of my favorite colors too.
yeah, they mix very nicely.
And on Facebook, Stella is saying, "Yay, Mark! Great fun."
Super.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes.
Buffy, would you like to share your swatching as well?
Sure, yeah. First off, John, what did you do by sharing the Lunar Black? Because, oh my gosh, look at that. Now I gotta find room for another color on
Oh,
my palette.
very cool.
Isn't that beautiful? So that's just the manganese blue hue, and then the burgundy yellow ochre and a little bit of burnt sienna. And look at how subtly, it's just so pretty. Oh. And then here's some of the colors I had from her palette. And since I paint a lot of wet on wet, I like to see how they'll blend. And one of the color discoveries I noticed was this burgundy yellow ochre seemed a little, I didn't really like it when I swatched it, but then when it blended out in a wash with other colors, it's quite beautiful. So fun.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm encouraged to see how you're swatching in geometric shapes, putting them together. That's really good to see with the wet washes.
That little mini swatch would do well as a bookmark.
Yes.
That's really pretty, Angela.
That's Opera Pink and Quinacridone Deep Gold. I feel that they mix so well together.
That looks like popsicles.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Very cool.
For those of
Agree.
you that paint with the opera pink, do you have any advice for anything to put over it? Because it's somewhat fugitive. So if you wanted to sell it or show it, or do you just put it under UV glass? Do you have any recommendations?
If you put it under UV glass, it's certainly going to last. It's going to stay longer. Out of direct sunlight, of course, longer. And I know some of you I've heard have been using UV spray. You could probably do that. I would just test it. It's like, you know, everything you want to test it on something else first before you put it over your painting, just to make sure it's going to behave the way you want it to behave. And just as a general note, if you put the UV over the top of any of the luminescence, you're going to lose that luminescence because you're going to change the way the light wave comes down and hits it. So here we have, you're welcome. This is the burgundy yellow ochre, and this is the new gamboge. Here in the US, we call that, you know, that's like school bus yellow. It's a pretty color. This is burnt sienna, and this is the cobalt teal blue, very, very popular. That's neat, Giovanni.
No.
Giovanni, is that next to the ultramarine? Is that manganese?
No, before. It's manganese blue and ultramarine.
Very pretty.
So this is manganese blue right here.
Yeah.
This is the Carbazole Violet. God, that's so pretty. Just a dark, dark color. It's the Carbazole Violet. Looks more blue on the screen. That's just the camera does it for some reason, but here you can actually see it's more purplish. Well, Caroline. So Stella and Catherine and I are going to both be visiting Stella in her home in Bulgaria, which would be awesome. Stella says, John, is it possible to improve the light facets of Opera Pink? And if no, why not? So it is not. And that's because the manufacturer of that color, it's a fluorescent. And as a fluorescent, they don't care to do that. So it's really up to the manufacturer of the pigment. I made that particular color for the Botanical Society. Because they take pictures, they do their artwork, then take pictures, and then tend not always to keep the artwork. And then other people just really enjoyed it. The one thing about the Opera Pink, however, if you look on the pigments, it has quinacridone magenta as well. So while the Opera Pink, 25 years or however long you leave it in the sun, etc. While the fluorescent can go away, be a great deal of time, the quinacridone magenta underneath it will not go away because that's 100 years. So
to ask a follow-up question with the opera.
Yeah.
If you were willing to go into the fluorescence with the neon pink, would you also, neon's the wrong word, fluorescent pinks, would you also be considering going into the fluorescent yellow, orange, and green?
I had a hard issue ever doing the fluorescent at all. And the reason is I don't want anything that were fugitive. I only had 3 things that were fugitive. So 2 of them, one was rose madder, because rose madder is it's a laked pigment. It is a dye that's infused over aluminum trihydrate, and therefore by definition it is a pigment. But if something's fugitive, it's fugitive forever. So a laked pigment is also, it's fugitive. But I had that because there's a history behind it. And the other one is the Alizarin Crimson. Alizarin Crimson is a coal tar derivative and has a huge history behind it. The masters used it. I ended up getting rid of the rose madder just because it was impossible to get the same color all the time. You're getting a dye from the rose madder, and it was just impossible. So I stopped that and we made the permanent version. And so for the Opera Pink, it was just really difficult for me to do that. I don't like fugitive things, but I understood what the botanical artists were talking about. It made a lot of sense to me. And so I decided I would come out with that one. And I will not come out with, I pretty much state that. I'm going to state that I won't come out with any other ones that are fugitive.
John,
Yes.
is there a mix that people can make from various other paints to approximate that color?
Well, here, let's look at something else. So I'll show you the Opera Pink. And I'll show you another color, maybe two other colors. So another question I get asked quite a bit, what if I take a color of Light Fast 1, it's 100+ years, and I mix that with the Opera Pink. So do I add the numbers together and then divide it by 2? Does that become my new Light Fast? What do you think?
I don't think so.
I would say that the light fast will stay, and the one that isn't light fast will fade at some point.
Yeah, you're not going to. So if you're not going to change the light fastness of the lower one by any huge amount. That just doesn't work that way. So you're right. It makes very little to no huge change. Might change it by 10 years.
John, isn't the wisteria the titanium white and the same pigment as the Opera Rose, or am I mistaken?
No, the Opera Pink actually, so the Opera Pink is a fluorescent, and it's the only fluorescent that we have.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so.
I think, can we answer that question going the other direction? It is the only fluorescent you have, but you added a second pigment in it so that it had some light fastness. So that even when the fluorescence had disappeared, there was still pink left.
Yeah, we didn't, yes, that is correct. And we really did because it was working with the artist to get them the vibrancy they wanted. It really wasn't to try to increase the light fastness of the Opera Pink. It was just, we went back and forth with the artist to say, how does this look? How does this look? And the one that they loved the most was the Opera Pink with the Quinacridone Magenta. That seemed to really fit the bill. So more of happenstance than anything else. So this is the one that I believe you already bought, Ian. This is the Quinacridone Rose. So there's the Quinacridone Rose. I'm going to put 3 of them together. There's the Quinacridone Rose. And some of you have done a lot of painting. You may have a different combination of colors that you use to. Nothing's really going to absolutely match the Opera Pink because it is just so bright. There's the Opera Pink. And then this is.
Did the botanical people say why they wanted that color?
Because there's flowers in the real world that have unbelievable vibrancy to them. And they're painting flowers. And some of the natural world are just extremely vibrant. There's different.
Sorry, go on.
I mean, there's fuchsias, etc. There's just a lot of flowers in the natural world that are very vibrant to attract, their animal vector.
As I was walking down my road today, there's lots of trees that have got blossom on them, a beautiful pink. And I just thought, would that, something like that, could you lake the blossom from a tree?
No, no, because okay. So it's a huge qualified no. But no matter what you did, if it came, it's like some people ask me, John, if I use coffee, and that might be very nice, but that's going to be fugitive. If it's made from a grass, it's going to be fugitive. If it's made from a vegetable, it's going to be fugitive. So while they might look really good, and you should do whatever you as an artist to express yourself, just know if it's made from a vegetable, etc., it's going to be fugitive. There's very few things.
To die, basically.
So if you found an ochre in a riverbed, that can be unbelievably thousands of years, siennas, ochres, etc. There's manufactured from the synthetic world that are made to be very long lasting. For example, your cars, industry, etc. From the natural world, it's they won't last.
Well, they're only meant to last a short while, aren't they, really?
People ask me, what about, John? I see that I buy a shirt or something and it says, this is a permanent dye. It just means it's a longer lasting dye. Dyes are not permanent. So it's within that industry. It's absolutely correct within that industry, but within what we're doing in the art world, it is not permanent. So it's not wrong. It's correct within that industry, but it's not correct necessarily within what we're doing in the art world.
You can only set a dye with salts and things like that, but even that will eventually wash away in all the shirts and things when you put them in wash. That's it. They slowly but surely lose the vibrance.
So this is the Quinacridone Rose. The brightest one is the Quinacridone Pink. This is the Rhodonite Genuine. So permanent, not permanent, permanent.
Mm.
This is the raw umber. And actually this is the burnt umber. And I believe that, on Alison's, does Alison have the burnt or the raw?
Burned.
Burnt, okay. So let me show you. This is going to be, this is the raw. And I'll move it over so you can see it, because I know you can't see that. Move this over this way. So that is the raw. And there's a difference between the two. A little bit hard to see in that camera, but there's actually a difference between the two.
Yeah.
So usually when something is a burnt, it's just been put into a furnace and changed the oxidation state. So there, burnt, and there we go with the raw.
I always think of the raw as being an almost green shade compared to the burnt. The burnt is so red.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't come across, but that's a good way of looking at it. It looks slightly more green.
It feels green.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like it.
You do like it? Or you don't like it?
I don't like it.
Let's have one last one to share on that list.
You can't not have burnt umber in your set. It's a workhorse.
The what?
Burnt umber is a workhorse. It's one of the classics.
John Besnick is also in the room and doing a swatch.
Hello, Besnick.
Okay.
Hi everyone.
Oh,
Playing here with Queen Deep Gold and Queen Rose.
Oops.
So this is one of Besnick's favorite colors, I think, is the indigo.
Yeah, I love it.
I've gone a little bit fuzzy, John.
I'll put one more color down. It was behaving quite well. So let me put one more color down. It should square itself away. Let's see. I'll put the Anthrone blue. Let's try that. It should square itself up pretty quickly. This camera has a mind of its own.
Ethnic. Buffy asked, what's the mix? What's the color mix that you have? Bethnick.
Ethel,
Yeah, go ahead.
she's asking about this one.
Yeah. Well, she asked what had Bethnick mixed with the Kin Rose?
This one, very light, is from Moon Glow. Only 5% of Moon Glow with 95% of water. You see this tone, and then I put Queen Deep Gold, this orange, and this one is Queen Rose.
Beautiful, beautiful mix. Look at that.
Very nice.
And in this part, I played also just like I love Moon Glow. It's one of my favorites.
Mine too, yes.
Yeah.
I had never
This is
thought
Moon
of it
Glow,
that way.
totally mixed
Pretty.
with water. Moon Glow. This one is Hansa with Queen Rose.
Mm. Oh, really good. Really, really good.
Let's see what that- I don't know why it's doing that. It's kind of weird. Maybe I have light. So Carolyn says she loves indigo as well, and it's a feature of new artwork that she's going to enter into an exhibit in Spain. That's pretty awesome. We just talked about Alizarin Crimson. This is permanent.
The phone, someone's phone is ringing.
That's my phone.
Oh,
Let me turn it off. So there's the permanent Alizarin Crimson. This right here is the lamp black. Any ideas why they call it lamp black?
Wasn't it taken from soot off of lamps?
Absolutely. Used to put lamps inside of a tent. The soot would go to the inside of the tent. They take it out, beat it with a broom, collect it, and that's why they call it lamp black. Yeah, you're right.
What did they use as a binder to get it to stick to the paper? Wouldn't it be oily?
So the binder they use, well, the binder that we use is going to be the gun Arabic. How they process it past into the pigment form, I could find that out. But you're right, that's just a starting place for the pigment. So this one, should I keep this right in here? This is the lamp black. This is the permanent Alizarin Crimson. And this is the Phthalo Blue Turquoise. Phthalo is one of those ones that just says, hello, I'm here at the top of its lungs. So Phthalo Blue Turquoise. And this is Phthalo Turquoise. This will be on Alison's tomorrow. So that's going to be, this is the Phthalo Blue Turquoise, and this is the Phthalo Turquoise that she has on her dot card. It's way better here in front of me, the screen. Camera's good, can't complain, but it doesn't really do the color that well. So Jimmy says lamp black is my favorite wet and wet technique. This is so I wanted to kind of give you a couple of examples of the turquoise. And this is Ultramarine Turquoise.
That's nice, Giovanni.
I was playing a little bit more with the Lunar Black and the Lunar Red, just to, or Lunar Earth, just to see the difference in a wash. And look at how pretty the sediment is. I still can't believe it's synthetic. It just blows my mind. So I wanted to share. Isn't that beautiful?
That's neat.
How it settles.
Beautiful.
And I did the two different turquoises, the two phthalos, and then that burgundy ochre is growing on me too. So my shopping cart is getting full, guys. Thanks.
John,
Yes.
can you see a time in watercolor paints and pigments where every color is synthetic and producing exactly the same colors that natural pigments would?
You can make almost every color. I think you can make everyone, but let's just say most. You can make almost everything synthetically if someone was to take the time and energy to be able to do it. So if there's a dollar value to it, it can be done. I think for certain things you lose a beauty. I think I think imperfect colors, there's a beauty in them. So the Permatex, which are imperfect, have a beauty to them. Siennas and ochres, there's a beauty to them. Because there's a historic beauty and there's a beauty in terms of they're not perfect. So there you get some granulation, you get nuances that are just, I find, very beautiful. When I look at the synthetics, there's also a beauty there. We go and we see cars, we probably all say to ourselves at least once a week, oh, that's a beautiful color car, or I like that color. So I think there's both. Can that be done? If the industry producing the paint wanted to do it, they could certainly do it. Right? Because everything can be boiled down to chemistry. I mean, you can figure out what goes with what to be able to make it. Chemists are pretty brilliant people. There just has to be a reason behind it. I don't know if that sounds self-serving.
We had a couple questions on Facebook.
Yes.
Including Phthalo. No, what's the difference between the blacks and neutral color? And then the second question was, any issues sourcing gum arabic sustainably?
There is not an issue doing it sustainably. I mean, it comes from a plant. The individual is taking care of them. It's a crop, and it's a crop that's usually grown over and over and over again. So it's very sustainable. It's used in many, 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 many things. If you look at candy bars, etc., you'll see gum arabic. So it's like wheat or corn. It is a very sustainable product. I forgot what the other one was about the blacks, etc.
The question was, what's the difference between blacks and neutral color?
Blacks and neutral. Boy, how they're used, you'd have to ask. There's just a lot of artists right now on with us. Blacks really aren't necessarily neutral. So you have the neutral tints. I mean, just to say neutral, you really want to look at, you can look at the C Lab, which is online, and you can pick ones that are, around the 50, 48, 49, 50, 51, and those would kind of be in the middle. The blacks tend to be on one side of very low on the scale for light fastness. So, I mean, they're not zero, but last time I looked, they're in the 40s, high 30s, low 40s. Usually when someone talks about neutral tint, for example, or a Payne's gray, you can add it to a color and bring down the vibrancy of the color without losing the color. So it's really more of a technique. hope that answered that well. So Karen says, why do the Primitex seem to dry a lot lighter than other pigment colors? It's because they're natural. If you're dealing with a phthalo or a Pyrrole or a Pyrrole, anything that's made from the synthetic world, I mean, they're absolutely perfect. They're just one thing, and they're super high performance pigments. They're meant to be, many of them, very high in resistance to corrosion. They're very, they're made to be very bright, take high acidity. They're not manufactured for artists. They're manufactured for industry, and they're manufactured to be around, many of them, the majority of them, for a very long time. So it's really different between the natural colors and the synthetic colors. So Carolyn also says, neutral tint, I describe it as a toner for my students. Thank you.
There's three things: tint and tone.
Besnick, oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Two things.
Yeah, John, tell me.
Carol says, what are the colors you're using?
Okay, here I have mixed lavender. This is lavender mixed with very light queen deep gold, very light queen deep gold. Lavender, cobalt teal blue, and this is ultramarine blue. This one I already said the colors.
Definitely.
Besnick, that bird that you posted actually caused me to gasp.
Do you like it or not?
John, I do. It was fabulous.
I used only this color.
Which one is that? What is that?
Alvaro's Fresco Gray.
Okay.
Only one
It was
color.
fabulous. Fabulous.
And it is a very big size painting.
Yes, I noticed.
110 centimeters by 75 centimeters. What a
I
pity,
noticed.
I just sent it to one of the exhibitions here in local gallery. I could show it here.
It was, yeah, just look on his Instagram. It's great.
Thank you so
John,
much.
can you see this at all, John?
Which one? Giovanni?
I'm Larry, and I'm
Everybody.
trying to show you. Oh, is it coming out backwards?
No, I see it. I see it.
Okay. You had this online
Yes.
back in 2013.
Yes, we did.
And I'm really hoping that it comes back.
It is on my list to bring back.
Okay, because I really appreciated it. So much that look at it. It's a mess.
Yes, we will absolutely bring that back. Well, I think we'll try
Within
to
my lifetime, please.
make it more interactive.
Yes. Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
We just had a look at that Alvaro grey. Is that considered to be a neutral tint?
So Alvaro has the Caliente and the Fresco. So probably Besnick or Caroline. Let's see who else is on. Caroline for sure. Caroline's a teacher.
Because he likes his greys, Alvaro, doesn't he?
Caroline, if you're still on, would you consider the Alvaro's Fresco to be a neutral?
I think yes, it is, and it is very nice.
So Besnick saying yes, it is.
Yeah. Thanks, Besnick.
It's amazing. You should try that color.
I keep saying I'm going to get Alvaro's set, but I'm building my tower of sticks. And once I've got that to a decent level, like it's time for the tubes.
Love the word
So,
again, Tower of Sticks. Sorry.
nope, go ahead.
I was just saying, John, it's a nice visual, like Tower of Sticks.
Yes.
That's nice, Giovanni. And Angela, I love your mixes. Yours as well, Besnick. Those are really nice.
Thank you.
Anna, yours were very nice too. Thank you for taking the time to share. I think that the more people that share, the better. Anna asked about that today, about having, it's really, if you want to show them, just let us know or raise your hand. Thank you, Mark. Yours are, so that's, what do you have there? You have opera pink and what else?
Yeah, it's actually more like a cool and warm mix. This is Tiger's Eye with opera pink. And below is actually burnt Tiger's Eye with rhodonite.
Oh, very cool.
And they're still working their way down.
Awesome.
Yeah. Rhodonite's actually quite a potent color.
Very nice. Thank you.
Did we get to have a look at those new sticks, John?
Oh, yes. So Caroline has also answered the question. I always call Alvaro's grays his palette muds. He's a master at mixing them. You can use them as a mixer, but not as an effective toner as neutral tint.
Right.
So that was Caroline's reply. So yeah, so real quick, I can do this. So this is going to be, oh, here we go. See me. This is going to be olive green.
Olive green.
Whoops. So these are done from my chemists. They
Will
put them
that
in,
have a different mass tone? Because it's got a nice under yellow.
it will look just like
What is
this.
it like?
Yellow 97.
And let me show you the next one. This is going to be spring green. So these are all colors that were recommended by Giovanni, who's on with us today. So one almost every day.
Spring green.
So this is spring green.
Is the long-term goal to make every color a stick?
No, not really. Just colors that allow for the so this is going to be the Mayan orange.
Isn't carmine a historic color?
Look at that.
Yeah. Carmine, as yeah.
It's sort of a beautiful color. I have that one. I'll show that one to you too. So there we go for the Mayan orange.
You put some water on that so we can see how it behaves in a more runny manner.
Yeah, this is ivory black. So let's see. Okay, so I don't have any really clean water, but I'll use this water. It's not the cleanest water.
Dirty water. None of us have clean water.
Controversialist. I was watching a how-to video and one person said, I never have clean water. I just let it go muddy, and my paintings are just as bright and vibrant as any others. So,
Kind of like sourdough starter.
so I've had some cups of water that ended up looking like mud.
If you really want to push that concept, you could evaporate the water out of your bucket and reactivate paint, maybe.
That's it.
Yeah.
Push it all back down into one.
Add a little
Actually, I had a bunch of tube ends that I soaked in a bucket of water for like a month. It got stinky. And it makes a very nice granulating orange and blue. The blue fell out into the troughs on the paper, and I'm now looking for it and can't find it. But it evaporated down to quite a usable pigment from about 8 tubes of tube ends.
So here's the Carmen.
May I ask a question?
Yes, you can.
What blue is that you just put in just before this pink, right? That
here?
blue, yeah, yeah.
This is the Prussian blue. Thank you.
Oh,
For that.
thank you.
Yeah. Sometimes that's just, I love looking at the color and just start moving on to the next one. So thank you. Yeah.
What's
that's
this
the
one
Prussian blue.
again, John? The
I'm
red?
sorry, one more time. This is Carmen.
Carmen.
Mhm.
I'm
C-A-R-M-I-N-E, Carmen.
talking to a dyslexic, so I don't know what he said there.
And this is burnt yellow ochre.
Would that be one at PR 101?
With ivory black inside because I can't get that off my brush. So I'm going to hand these off to Giovanni in Italy, and so you can actually see his work with it. So those are all the colors. Let me show you again. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
There were 7. How many does that mean? I've got to get. I'm just thinking about my boxes.
Now they'll have to sit here and dry because they're all wet.
You have to create a box with 10.
Yeah, some things, we just do the open stock because that way, as artists, you can pick whatever colors that you like, especially when it comes to the sticks. Well, so tomorrow we'll have Alison. Look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Thank you for all your, I love the energy. Your questions are fantastic. Mark, thank you. Ian, thank you. Anna Marie, thank you. Angela, thank you. Giovanni, thank you. Thank all of you for taking part today. Love your questions. Your questions were great. I think maybe in 2 weeks or so, we'll go back and we'll start just talking about families of colors as well. So maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And if you've got questions, I get questions quite a bit from customer service, and I answer that to the people that are answering them. But you might have questions. Just go ahead and ask me live if I don't know the answer, which I kind of really enjoy. I will find it out and then bring it back. Is that what we all learn together, which is phenomenal. Thank you, everybody. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye all.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care.